Hey guys, Lucky Pocky Reviews back again. It has been quite a while since I've done a video. I will apologize. And yeah, before I get into this video, I'll just have a quick few disclaimers. So the first one I want to make is that I've actually made up have now a Letterboxd profile. And basically what I do on this is I'm pretty much just logging in, like movies and shows I'm watching, just day-to-day type thing. They're not necessarily ones that I'll end up making videos on necessarily, but, just to kind of get out like quick thoughts on something I've watched, I will put up just a quick little star rating and quick review type thing. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description of the video, and yeah, basically you can go and check it out. I definitely recommend just having a look at it, because yeah, I do post stuff on it regularly enough, and yeah, basically just to get an idea of like what I'm think of movies and shows that I watch. And yeah, the second disclaimer that I want to make is that since between the last video I've done, I think that was the Batman review. I could be wrong. But yeah, since making that video, I have actually seen another new release movie, which is Turning Red, the new Pixar film. But unfortunately, just because of time constraint and stuff, I wasn't able to make a video on that one, which was a bit of a shame. But I can just give a quick review of it now. Honestly, like, in terms of a rating, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. I thought it was okay. I liked some of the like deeper themes that were going on in it, with the balance between family and friends. That was really interesting. But I felt like it was, compared to like where a lot of Pixar movies are very timeless, have a lot of themes and ideas that seem to, and dialogue that doesn't feel like it's for a certain time period. This definitely feels like a movie. It's set in the early 2000s, and it feels like a movie that was, would have been written or made around that time. And because of that, it feels very dated to me. And so I personally just didn't get that into it, but I still liked, some of the deeper themes going on in it. So it kind of worked out to just be okay overall, but yeah, wasn't a huge fan of it personally. But anyway, but that's not what you want to hear about. You want to hear my thoughts about Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a movie that's just come out recently by, I think it's A24, the independent film studio. And just to give a quick like just basic premise of what the movie is about. Basically, it focuses on a Chinese American woman who's played by Michelle Yeoh, and basically, there's all this stuff, going on in her life, things, she's got like taxes and that she's, got to pay off. She's running a business. She has, family. Everything's kind of a bit all over the place, typical family drama type stuff. And so, yeah, basically it kind of follows her, and I won't go too much more into detail, but just to like, basically the movie is centered around basically the idea of like alternate dimensions, like multi-dimensional type things. And none of this is spoilers. This is literally like, if you Google the movie name, it just says that that's what the movie's about. So like, yeah, it's not a spoiler. But basically you think like, like what Spider-Man No Way Home or Into the Spider-Verse did, where it's, these alternate dimensions, different universes with some things change around. It's that kind of thing. And that's basically like the general premise of the movie. Without going into too much more detail. And so yeah, in terms of my thoughts on this movie, and in terms of like, what I, do, whether I think people would like it or not, the number one thing I will say just right up front is that this might be one of the weirdest friggin' movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, and I'll go into why. But just like, yeah, if you're going to see this movie, just be like aware of that. Like, again, I don't want to give away anything, but it is definitely a movie. It is very, very, very weird, but in like, yeah, it's hard to describe. I will kind of try and go into it a little bit now. But basically, in terms of my overall kind of how the best way to talk about this movie really is to talk about it in two halves, because there is very much two distinct kind of sections with the movie where my opinions on those sections are very different. So in terms of like, I'll just do the first half of the movie. First half of the movie is very much, very much about like it. Okay, is basically like, imagine a mix of The Matrix, like the action style and kind of like the coolness of that, mixed with the humor of like Rick and Morty, right? That's kind of the first half. Just put it really like in a basic sort of way, just to give you an idea. That's kind of the feel of it. And honestly, for what that first half I really, really enjoyed. I thought was very entertaining. I was really invested in the characters. The action was shot very well. It had a really unique style to it, and obviously like the comedy itself was also very funny, very odd and weird, but it was definitely got a laugh out of me several times, so that was great. And then the second half, it is definitely like, halfway through the movie where it's sort of, there is a very, without giving too much away, there is a very big change in tone. And it really is just, it's not something where I can say, oh, it's like this thing, or it's similar to something like this. Like, it is its own complete different type of movie that I can't describe it really. It's just very, very, very like unconventional, very different. And I don't want to say much more, but I guess the best way I can sum this up is, when I was watching this movie in the theater, which surprisingly was actually pretty packed. I was kind of surprised for a movie that was like an independent type film, but it was like pretty almost full. When I saw it. And during the first half, the audience I was with laughed, several times throughout the movie. And I mean, like, honestly, from my experience, when I go and see movies in the theater, it's not very often that, like, I hear, like, the audience actually, like, reacting to stuff, like, whether it be laughing or even, like, gasping at something. Like, that kind of thing just doesn't happen, at least from when I go to the movies anyway. Maybe I'm not seeing the kind of movies where that happens, but I just don't see it happen. So like, this is one of the few movies I've seen recently where like the audience is actually like laughing, or like they're reacting to what's happening on the screen. And like, I could tell that they were having a good time, they were, like I said, laughing and all that, which is great. But then in once the second half kind of set in, it was like, the laughs kind of stopped. There was maybe one or two here and there, but not nearly as many. And then when the lights came up, the film was done, I just heard people just behind me going, what the hell was... what? That was just... what? And, or some people just saying, oh, that was weird. Like, and yeah, which is pretty much, like, my reaction was just like, what? Like, yeah, what the hell did I just watch? Like... yeah, I just didn't know what to make of it when it just got to that, when the lights just came up, credits came up, everything. It is just kind of, I didn't know what to say. And so, because of that, this is one of those movies where I really just, I feel like I need to see it again to be able to make sense of it. But as I said, like, I think I get the feeling that, at least with the movie, I don't want to say that because that's going to be spoilers, but yeah, I have a feeling that there is a bit more to it than what I initially, like, what I just saw from the first viewing type thing. Like, I feel like watching it again, will make more sense, but hopefully. But yeah, like, definitely just, even now, I'm still kind of like, I still have no idea what to make of that second half, really. At least at the moment. So, but, you know, with that said, you know, if I just, you know, I know kind of hard to ignore a whole half of the movie, but, you know, for that first half and how entertaining and enjoyable it was, it is a very, very enjoyable, and like I said, I had a great time with it. And the actors themselves, I think, do a very good job. Obviously, you know, Michelle Yeoh is amazing. You know, I mean, she's such a, you know, she's done other like martial arts movies as well before, like, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff. So she knows, you know, she knows her stuff. And yeah, she's like, you know, I think she's like now up to, I think she's like 60 years old or something. Like, she's getting a lot older now, but she still has it, which is amazing. Jamie Lee Curtis is also just great too. Obviously, great comedic talent there. James Hong. But the biggest surprise for me would have to be, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Ke Huy Quan. Hopefully that's correct. But this is, for those of you who don't know, like, I literally didn't really know who the actor was, so I just, you know, did a quick Google, and he's the same guy that played Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which, you know, in that movie, I thought was just like, whatever, like, he's just kind of the annoying kid sidekick, whatever, you know, but, seeing him in this movie, he is, like, really surprised the hell out of me from, like, the range of just the range that he had in terms of the acting, like, the, you know, whether it be he was doing like actiony type stuff or, you know, having a more emotional scenes. He really sold me on it, and I was just genuinely surprised by that. So, like, you know, hats off to him for, like, really doing just a fantastic job, like, honestly. And the other one I also mention is Stephanie Su. I think, hopefully that's pronounced right as well. And mainly just because I would say for her, she probably has, like, definitely the most trickiest role in the movie, or, like, one of the harder roles in the movie, at least. And I don't know if I haven't seen her in anything else prior to this, so, like, I can't really say much about her as, like, an actual actress or whatever, but I think she did, like, a pretty solid job, again, like, trying to sell all, like, some of these lines and, you know, sell what her character was without saying too much. Yeah, like, what her character is supposed to be, and, like, you know, she does, in my opinion, does a very good job of selling you on it. So, yeah, like, again, hats off to her as well. But yeah, I guess overall, I had a very good time with this movie. I am glad that I saw it. And I definitely will have to see it again, considering just how, like I said, just how very odd but intriguing it is. Like, even though I say, like, it's very odd and strange, it is definitely a movie that I feel like is gonna stick with me. Like, it is that odd and that strange that it's something that I'm not gonna forget about for a while. Which I guess is a good thing in a sense, you know, like, it left an impact on me in a way. Just not the way that I was kind of thought it would, but anyway. Overall, I'm going to give Everything, Everywhere, All at Once an 8 out of 10. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the movie, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video then. Laters.